welcome back to my channel, and today we will be talking about Super Pets. Now, Super Pets starts off with Baby Superman and Crypto the puppy, and they are playing and laughing and having fun when Superman's parents say, "Hurry, we don't have a lot of time." So they put Superman as a baby into a rocket ship, and Crypto, not wanting his best friend to go away, he goes with him. But the dad does try to stop Crypto from going with Superman. But the mom says, "Let him go, he will need a friend." So, while in space as a baby, Crypto and little Superman were left on their own as they saw their planet being destroyed. So, they only have each other now. And as Superman is sleeping, as Superman is sleeping, as we skip to him being a grown-up, Crypto Crypto tries to wake him up and says, "Wake up, buddy. It is walk o'clock." And so he tries to wake him up by super punching him, but that doesn't work. And then he tries to wake him up by, guys, you won't believe me as I say this, by using the bathroom on his face. But Superman actually pushes him off of him, and he actually does wake him up by dropping him on his head. So, as they go for their walk, they are saving the day and stopping crime all at the same time. It's a good life. And they stop in Paris to get Lois a scone, and Lois and Superman are being all cute because they got each other a gift. Superman got her a scone. Okay, Superman got her well, not a scone. What is it? A, a croissant from Paris, and Lois got him a hot dog. So Lois, so Lois said that Superman is cute, and they were almost about to kiss, but then Crypto stopped them because he saw them and he's just sitting there looking at them. And Crypto thought that they were going to lick each other's faces, so he got into the middle of it and he said, "Are we licking faces right now? Because if we are, I am so in." You know, because he's a dog and they usually lick people's faces. You know, because they're dogs. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. So he tries to distract Crypto with the squeezy su- with a squeezy Batman toy. And Lois says, "Do you think Crypto may feel a little left out because he doesn't have a friend, and now that we are dating, I think that he feels even more left out because he doesn't have a friend. And Superman says, oh, he understands because when, you know, when Krypto and Superman were kids, Superman was his only friend. And then this gives Superman the idea the next day to go to the pet store where we meet PB, Chip, Martha, and Lulu. So, they have been trying to escape for a while now, for the couple of years, and Ace knows the schedule for the pet shop at the back of his hand. And he finally does escape, and he tells his friends, I will come for all of you at the end of clothing. Stay strong. And then he bumps in to Krypto. And Ace tells him that he is trying to escape, so Krypto uses his powers out in the open. And Superman sees this from the pet shop window, and he says, oh, Krypto. And then Ace tells him that he is not a normal dog, and that Superman went in there to get him a friend so he can give Superman some space. But Krypto says, no way, Superman will never do that. And Ace gets caught. I don't even know why. He just stood there. I mean, granted, Krypto was using his powers on him from the beginning, but he could have used that chance when he was talking to him to just start running. But, you know, a lost opportunity, I guess. And Ace says, I'm just glad that one friend that Superman will pick out for you is not me. So his friend says, oh, Ace, you're back. See, I told you Ace would come back for us. But Ace did not have the heart to tell them the truth. And he's already nervous about Superman not having time for him anymore, because these dogs that were talking to Krypto when Superman threw that toy into a tree and Krypto was trying to get it out. He grabbed the whole tree and he was walking to Superman when the dogs told him, well, don't you see? He doesn't want that toy. He just wants to get rid of you so he can talk to his girlfriend. So, Krypto is nervous that he is going to get replaced with Lois and that Superman's going to forget all about him. So when Superman and Krypto get home, they read the newspaper together, and they also stop Lex Luthor with Superman and Krypto taking the orange kryptonite that Lex Luthor thinks is going to give him superpowers into his machine and breaking off a piece and putting it on his skin so he could get superpowers by holding it in his hand. And it seems like all is lost because Superman and Krypto, they're just two people. They can't stop him on his own. But the Justice League comes to the rescue. Green Lantern, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the Flash come to the rescue to help Superman and Krypto. And they end up succeeding, and so they end up saving the day and succeeding. And he also has a henchman named, well, actually Mercy's not a henchman. I guess that's his partner in crime. So anyway, they tried to take the orange kryptonite so he could use it to get some superpowers, but Krypto, along with the Justice League and Superman, they ended up taking the orange kryptonite from Lex, but he ended up breaking a piece off and holding it in his hands, and then when it's time for him to get the superpower by holding it, nothing really happens. So, this is when Superman says to Krypto, "Who's a good dog? Who's a good dog? Who's a good dog?" And he is so proud of Krypto and giving him praise. And the rest of them are just standing there. I'm like, guys, don't just stand there. You won. Go home. Like, they're just standing there looking at Superman love on Krypto. So, that night, Clark has a date with Lois, and he's planning on proposing. That's why he wanted to get Krypto a friend, so it'll be easy when he proposes, because Krypton won't feel like he's alone once Lois and Superman are married. But Krypto feels hurt by this, that Superman wants to go on a date with Lois instead of hanging out with him. So he puts on some Taylor Swift singing Bad Blood and Problems and gets popcorn and ice cream made so he can go into his room and cry that Superman doesn't want to spend any time with him. And I just feel so bad for him. But do you remember that guinea pig Lulu that I mentioned from the pet store? Well, actually, Lulu has built a device, and she knows all about the orange krypton. And she told us, the audience, that she was taken from the lab by Krypto when Krypto found Luke's lab and took her to the pet store. And she has been mad at Krypto ever since. And she has built a device that her and Lex can use to take over the world. And we find out from Lucy that the orange kryptonite Lex tried to use doesn't work on humans, it works on animals. So, for some reason, the orange kryptonite, well, actually, 5 pieces of the kryptonite reach the pet store after Lulu uses her device to levitate it there. And they all get powers, and Lulu comes out first, and she can fly, and Ace tells her, please take us with you, please let us out of here. Us pets from the store, we have got to stick together, and this is when Lulu says that she is not gonna take them with her, and that she hopes they have a nice life and goodbye. But she does take the cat Whiskers with her, though. Keep him in mind because he will be coming important later. So, when Superman is ready to leave for his date, he actually gets stopped by Lulu, who poisons him with kryptonite, his weakness from his home planet, and she poisons Krypto with kryptonite and cheese. When Krypto thinks that the cheese is from Superman as an apology. He eats the cheese and then he loses his powers. But Ace and his friends escape the pound. And they are now in the park saying, oh, how they are gonna love the farm upstate that Ace has been talking about for years. And then Krypto finds them and asks for their help. But Ace tells him, no way, no way, no way, no way we are helping you. Because we are going to the farm upstate. Oh, and by the way, my favorite character from this movie is PB. I just love her character so much. She is so sweet. Okay, so anyway. So anyway, Krypto asks for more information about the farm upstate, and this is when Ace asks to talk to him, and Ace admits that there's no farm upstate, but I'm just trying to give them hope. And Krypto says, well, if you help me rescue Superman, I will take you to the farm that I used to live in with Superman in Smallville. And this is when Ace says deal. Meanwhile, back with Lulu, she has gotten herself some hamsters that she gave the orange kryptonite to, and the hamsters now have superpowers. And Lois called in the Justice League and told them everything, that Superman has been kidnapped by a guinea pig named Lulu. But Lulu ends up kidnapping the whole Justice League with the help of the hamsters that she just broke out. And back with Krypto, he is telling Ace while they are walking to figure out where Superman is, he is telling Ace how it is walk o'clock and how him and Superman used to spend all this time together just on their walks together. And they finally do end up facing Lulu. And then and 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 then Lulu tells Krypto, wow, they are losing, but Ace and everybody is giving it their best shot to use their new powers. And Lulu tells Krypto that Superman won't need you anymore because he's got Lois Lane. And that's the reason that he didn't tell you that he was married, because you can't handle it. And he won't need you anymore after he is married to Lois Lane. So let it go, dog. I mean, that's what she says. I mean, not in those exact words, but that's basically what she is saying. And so, while they are getting captured, they got a TV down there so they can see everything that the Super Pets are doing now. Oh yeah, that's their new name for the group. It's Super Pets. It was Super Pig, but now it is Super Pets. So they end up losing the first battle, but they end up going to the Hall of Justice, where Ace and Krypto have a talk. Ace tells Krypto that he used to have a family and he used to belong to a little girl until he tried to rescue her from a fall, but the parents thought that he bit her on accident. But what he was trying to do was trying to get her from not going down the steps by herself because she was just a baby. So they put him in the shelter, and that's where he met Chip and PB and Martha. I'm sorry, not Martha. Myrtle. That's where he met his friend at the shelter when he was put in there as a puppy. And 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 he actually tells Krypto, look, I know you're sad right now, but if you really loved Superman, you would understand that he's in love with Lois Lane, but that would never replace the love that he has for you. So now, because of the talk with Ace, and because of the talk with the hologram that was his father, he does understand that he needs to let other people in. And he also understands that he just needs to be happy for Superman. Rather he's with Lois or not with Lois. Well, he doesn't understand that yet, but he will. Okay, so so they practice using their powers. They take this invisible jet thing, which super no, which Crypto knows how to drive for some reason, but it's good for him that he knows how to drive. So they drive it to where Lex is being held in the prisons. In They drive it to where Lex is being held in the prison. And then, while Lucy is setting him free, it turned out that he was just using Lucy, which everybody tried to tell her, but she just refused to listen because she thought they were partners. So he actually locked her in there, and when you get locked in there, you lose your powers. And so, now, Crypto is locked in there by Lucy, like, they're all locked in there by Lucy, but they still try to get her to come to their side, but she just refuses to listen. So, yeah. Do you know those hamsters that she gave the superpowers to? Yeah. She got them to get her out. And then everybody else had to stay in there. And then Crypto says that this is all his fault because if he wasn't jealous of Lois in the first place, none of this would have happened if he would have just been happy for Superman in the first place. And Ace is like really proud of him because he can see that he grown. He has grown into a better dog. And Ace teaches him how to use this. And Ace teaches him how to be a real dog and actually sniff the ground. And he teaches them about loyalty and compassion, for others as the story goes on. So anyway, I really do like this part because it just shows how much Crypto has grown. So anyway, it turned out that Crypto has got his powers back. And he sets all his friends free. And he says, go help the rest of the heroes. I have got to go help Lois because Lois is in a plane on a building about to fall. But Crypto saves her and she actually tells Crypto that thing, Lucy, took our Superman. So he goes to fight Lucy off. And he actually wins because he gets Ace and Chip and PB to help. But it doesn't last for long because Lucy has more of the orange kryptonite, so she gets even stronger. And even with all the superheroes free from the prisons that they were watching the TV in, they still cannot take her down. So, Crypto decides to sacrifice himself and to use the super punch. So the super punch is like the power of the sun. Like you stand there in like all the sun's power, or like all the power just goes into you. And then you explode and you perish, like you die. You explode and you perish. So he ends up he ends up using the super punch to soak up all the power. But remember when he told his friends to stay behind? Well, they didn't listen to him. So they also tried to help him defeat Lulu with using their powers as well. And that's the one thing I do like. Even when Crypto says, look guys, I appreciate you guys for helping me, but I cannot have my new friends getting hurt. I'm gonna need you to stay behind while I go while I go rescue Superman and fight Lulu by myself because she could be very strong, and I don't want you guys to get hurt. So they don't listen, and they go help him anyway. And when he actually soaks up all the power, Lulu ends up getting knocked down by all the power that he has into the wall. And do you know the guinea pigs that were helping her? Yeah. She had those poor hamsters' powers taken away, burned to a crisp, because one was fire and then one was water. So she melted them away, and then they got mad, and then they were on Crypto's side, and they put her in the hot dog container. And honestly, I'm like, job well done. That's what you get. So anyway, Crypto soaks up all the power, and then he just falls to the ground, and like every superhero is concerned, and 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 honestly, Superman is like, Crypto, speak to me, boy. Don't go away, boy. But Crypto is alright, and Superman is back with Lois, and he is happy about that. Crypto is happy about that. And he says, way to go, buddy. And then Lois tells Crypto that, wait, and wait. And then Lois tells Superman, do you know that Crypto saved my life? And that's when Superman says, I know. He has been saving mine our entire lives. And then he tells Crypto to come here, and then he hugs and kisses him. It's so sweet. And then all the super pets get an owner. Ace ends up with Batman, and the two fire and water hamsters end up with Cyborg, and Chip and and wait and actually Chip ends up with and Chip ends up with and and Chip actually ends up with Green Lantern, and Martha actually ends up with the Flash, and actually PB ends up with Wonder Woman. Oh, and PB actually ends up knowing a lot about superheroes, which is what I like about her. Especially her and Wonder Woman make such a great team, and she looks so cute in her little red outfit and her cape and her little crown. Oh! And then at the end, Lois actually gets her proposal from Superman, and she ends up saying yes. And he doesn't even end up asking her. It's Krypto who has the ring in his mouth, and Krypto says, well, give it to her, man. Give it to her. So he actually does give her the ring, and and um and um Superman ends up saying, "Look, Lois, I know this isn't the most romantic spot to do this because we are not in a restaurant or anything, and and this is when Lois says, "Oh no, this is the perfect proposal. This is the one I always wanted." She is just so happy, and she says yes, even after he finishes the question. And it turns out that Krypto is talking to his dad, and he is saying, and, well, a hologram. Because he was talking to him at the beginning of the movie when Superman was kidnapped. So he is talking to the hologram, and he is telling the hologram that he was right. All he needed to do was find himself a team and some friends. And he told his dad that he was going to take Ace and his friends to the farm in Smallville, but everybody has found their owners, so everybody has found their home. And the next day, the the next day, Krypto calls for his team of super pets to go fight another villain. And I just love their new outfits, and I love the way they meet up with each other. It's just so cool. And then we get a end credit scene of Black Adam, and actually Black Adam's dog, who is talking about how he got the Superman toy and how Bat and how it is not Krypto's toy anymore. And then they fly off, and then and 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 then Krypto grabs the toy and he says, "My my Batman toy." So yeah, and that's the end of the movie. Bye, and see you guys in my next video.